Senate President Defence-Akpabio has told President Bola Tinubu not to allow his cabinet members to travel when it's time to appear before the National Assembly to defend the 2024 budget. Recall that the president presented a 27.5 trillion naira budget proposal to a joint session of the National Assembly. Tinubu had urged lawmakers to pass the budget in 30 days. In response, the Senate President stated that the lawmakers would consider the 2024 budget for first and second readings on Thursday and Friday before adjourning plenary until December 12th for budget defense with MDAs. Meanwhile, the Senate President Akpabio has assured President Tinubu that the budget proposals would be thoroughly considered. As a result, he urged ministers and heads of government agencies to avoid travel during the budget review. We still have with us in the studio Lawal Ekundayo, who is with us here, of course, in the studio. He's an educationist and a public affairs commentator, and Nick Agule, who is our virtual guest and chartered accountant, also public affairs analyst. Nick, I'm going to start with you. I hope you're in a place where the sun is not that much anymore. So tell me, what do you think are the implications of Senate President's request for the cabinet members to avoid traveling during the budget review?
The Senate President is right. If he made that request of the President of Nigeria to ensure that the budget is passed speedily, that means for ministers to make themselves available to the members of the National Assembly in their oversight function to stay in one place and get the budget reviewed and approved. But you see, the problem we have here is that the budget cycle in Nigeria, just like our electoral cycle, is too tight. As they say, budget is a continuum. Even though President Tinubu only took the reins of power on May 29th this year, the whole permanent secretaries, the directors, the entire civil service structure that is responsible for preparation of budget was in place from the Buhari government to this government. So it shouldn't have been a point of delay because there was a transition. We expect that the budget should be presented to the National Assembly at least 6 months to the beginning of the financial year, so that the National Assembly can have enough time to do due diligence with these budget numbers and get the budget passed, so that on the 1st of January of the new year, we are starting it with a new budget. Consistently in Nigeria, we will enter the new year and still not have gotten a budget for that year, and they will now be extending the previous year's budget. Why is it that very simple and easy fixes like this are difficult for us to do? Just present budget to like now. The government of President Tinubu knows that they will need a budget in 2025. Why don't they start the budget process from now, gathering data, so that with 6 months to go in 2024, they have the budget ready, presented to the National Assembly, and the National Assembly takes their time to look at the budget. It's the same thing as I was saying about our electoral cycle. Why wait to conduct elections in February when handover is in May, knowing fully well that the courts will not have enough time to adjudicate on the electoral matter before you swearing in? Then you now end up swearing in people who are then later removed by the court, and then you now have off-cycle election. We have the risk now of a presidential election really becoming off-cycle in Nigeria if we don't do anything about the timetable. So we should be doing something about the timetable for our budget preparation and presentation and a review and approval by the National Assembly.
All right, then. Well, we're talking about 30 days. 30 days is a short time, and we're looking at how does the National Assembly have enough time to go through the budget, peruse it and saying, okay, these are maybe what should be removed, this and this should be monies in this area should be increased or money in this area should be reduced. Do you think they have is the 30-day period enough time really?
The National Assembly, you get it? They are the one to pass the budget. Now, what were you doing since that you didn't request and make it strong that this thing supposed to have been presented to you before this time? So, if the president is presenting it now and the National Assembly is accepting it now, yes, it is their prerogative, it's their own problem now to make sure that within this time they pass the budget.
Now, if they are passing it within, sorry to interrupt your thoughts there, if they are passing it within this time frame, which I think is not enough time to go through the budget, do you think they'll be doing justice to it then? Because they might be passing without having, a thorough look at it.
See, it's a lesson for them. You get what I'm saying? It's a lesson. You need the budget. You get? You're supposed to have requested for it a long time before now. Second, you are the one making the law. If you know that you need 6 months or 3 months to pass the budget, to do a thorough job on it, why not make a law? Make a bill in the House that the budget should be submitted latest so and so time. You get it? And within so and so will have come, just like the Court of Appeal. There's a time frame. I think is it 61 days or something. There's a time frame. They put a time frame in because they know some people can take advantage. They bring I want it the third day. It will be their own problem. So they make a time frame for it. Not the National Assembly and won't make it. That is why they are there to make laws, to make things easy for Nigerians, to make it easy for you to do business, your work, to make it easy for the executive to run, to make it easy for the judiciary to run. Make the law. If you cannot pass, if you know that 1 month is too small, we still have next year. You get what I'm saying? Make a law that in June 1st, the budget supposed to have been presented to the House, and December 1st, the budget supposed to have been passed by the House. The moment it's a law, everybody will be rushing to be within the law and not to disobey the law. So it is the National Assembly that is causing the issue. That's what I see.
Okay. All right, let me come to you now, Nick. Nick, the President of the Senate did say, Defence-Akpabio, he said, look, we will, look deeply into this, we will peruse it, we'll scrutinize it, and make sure that it is what Nigerians want. I'm actually paraphrasing now. But, the question I want to ask is, those words, were they really necessary? A school of thought would say, this 10th Assembly is already being perceived as another rubber stamp, that's considering the last assembly being a rubber stamp assembly, doing everything that the presidency pushes to it. And they talk about looking critically into the budget. Do you see it as sound bites, or do you see it as a shift away from the perception that it might be a rubber stamp assembly and they want to do things, thoroughly this time around?
Well, ordinarily, the Senate President's words should have been reassuring of Nigerians that the Senate is going to live up to its constitutional responsibility. But like you have already said, I don't think expecting so much out of this National Assembly is going to lead Nigerians to any good dividends, because we know how the leadership of this assembly emerged. For me, I cringed with pain anytime I saw even supposedly educated people who should have been well-traveled and politically wise to sit on national television in the run-up to the election of the leadership of the National Assembly and be talking about President Tinubu's role in the emergence of the leaders of the National Assembly. Anytime I heard that thing from anybody, I pinch myself. I just knew that these people were leading us on a road to perdition, self-destruction, because the framework of the democratic system of government that we have imported, the United States, they have the legislative arm of government as a check on the executive arm of government. So they have the legislative and the judicial arms of government as a check on the humongous powers that the executive arm of government is given. And to sit down and now say the person whom the legislature should be checkmating is the one now that people are saying, oh, he needs to have a say in the emergence of the leaders. It's as good as telling a driver to remove the brake pedal in a motor vehicle he's driving, because that brake pedal is the one that he will use to slow down the motor vehicle and give him back control if he's using too much power. So what Nigeria is experiencing is executive recklessness. You see, this executive recklessness extends into other areas. Like now, we are agitating and saying, even for the electoral process, the executive arm of government should not be the one that is appointing the electoral umpire. Why would the executive arm of government, that is a player in the field of play, be the one to appoint a referee? That they should allow us Nigerians to vote for our electoral commissioners. Every state should vote for the electoral commissioner, so the electoral commissioner will work for the interest of the people. So the executive arm of government in Nigeria have arrogated unto themselves too much power, and if there is any submission that the current 10th National Assembly is an executive lackey and the Senate President is like a senior special assistant to the President, while the Speaker of the House of Representatives is like a special assistant to the President, they will be right. And I don't expect anything different. I don't expect anything different. I believe that at the end of the day, it's going to be, they will take a bow and go to this budget.
All right, then. Do you share the same view, Ekunayo?
Yes. I've been saying that the National Assembly is our main problem. I've been saying it. Like he said, when I heard that thing, I was not happy. How can the president has a hand in the emergence of the Senate President or the Speaker of the House of Assembly? After that, now you get it. It shows that you are now going to begin to pardon. There'll be a smooth. You want smooth interaction. So if you're having smooth interaction, how do you now checkmate? If you see something that is not right, it will be difficult to bring it out now because you are having a rapport with the person that you want to expose. You won't be able to do that. That's what is happening now. That is why they are saying they need more time. Next year, we need the budget to start in January.
But they're even going on recess.
I heard they are going to come back in December.
12th of December.
Part of the month is gone. Now, you needed enough time. You have not started asking for the budget in June. You did not make the law to make the president, to compel the president to bring the budget. You are running after your own personal, you know what I mean now. SUV, the president was ditching out money to them. They were enjoying themselves until you have a limited time. During that limited time, they submitted budget. You are now telling us you need more time. Of course, what's going to happen? So the problem is that the National Assembly is always romancing, you get it, with the executive. So who's now going to check the executive? Now the judiciary now is also romancing with the executive. So who's going to be fair when it comes to the law? So I totally agree with him. I agree with him.
All right then. Let me come back to you now, Nick. Now, when you look at the budget proposal, part of the monies government intends to generate from taxation. Don't you? Well, a school of thought would say this might be putting a lot more burden on Nigerians because Nigerians are the ones that will be taxed. How does that make you feel?
Okay, so for me, I'll be very happy that government is going to increase revenue through taxation. But this taxation must not be increasing the tax rate on people who are already paying taxes. Because in Nigeria right now, those who are paying taxes are those who are working for a salary. Their salaries are taxed at source, which is what we call personal income tax. So, which is also known as pay as you earn, payee. So, people who are working for salary are duly paying taxes, at least if the organizations are responsible enough to deduct the taxes, and if they are responsible enough to remit the taxes. So there are two things. There are a lot of organizations in Nigeria that are deducting taxes from employees' payroll, they are not remitting it. So if the government is looking to increase revenue through taxation, those are the areas they need to look at. They need to audit the books of companies in Nigeria, employers or labor, and see the ones that are not remitting taxes they've already deducted to coffers of government. And actually, they can criminalize it, just like elsewhere. If you do wrong things with your taxation, it's a criminal activity of which you can go to prison. You know, so that is number one. Number two, the government needs to cast its net wider. You know, because I was talking about those who are paying taxes. Those who are paying taxes are salary earners and market women. So if you go into the markets today, as well as market cutting ticket for those market women, they cut that ticket on a daily basis. You know, so those women are paying taxes, salary earners are paying taxes. The likes of Otedola, Tony Elumelu, Dangote, Adenuga, how much taxes are they paying? Because elsewhere, those are the people that government take humongous taxes from. There are countries in the world where someone like Dangote should be paying 60% tax. 60% tax. You know, I worked in the UK. You know, as much as I was not a big man, my tax in the UK was 45%. You understand? So government takes 45% of my income, and then when I use the balance to go into a shop to buy something, government puts 20% VAT on it. You know, but government will not put VAT on common things like food, like pharmaceuticals, you know, and things like that. But any other thing I want to buy, if I want to buy a television set, I want to buy a phone, I want to buy, government say you have money to buy those things, you give me 20% taxation. So if the government is prepared to generate more revenue by casting wide their net, asking people like Otedola to publish their tax records, which is what happens elsewhere. People like the Dangote publish their tax records, and then ensuring that those who have deducted taxes meant for government, they have duly paid those taxes in the coffers of government. Look, the government can triple or quadruple tax revenue without increasing a single percentage of tax. So they should not increase a single percentage of tax. They should rather look at these other options that we're talking about to increase tax revenue.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Let's get your final thoughts now. Final thoughts on this, Lawale Kundayo. Topics that we've shared, both of them. Final thoughts as we make to wrap up.
Now, this let me go to this out of the budget.
Okay.
Like government wants to borrow 7 trillion and things like. What about those other areas? You get, we are paying stamp duty when we send money, we withdraw money. Has record been? Do you have record of those things? It's been going on. There was a complaint during the Buhari era that money was not remitted. It was a serious issue. Now this present administration is there. It's not going after all those monies that were lost. You get it, to bring it and use it to finance the budget. Now you want to go and borrow. The government should look at those areas, like he has said. Plus those stamp, all those small money that people pay here and there is huge. 200 million Nigerians or 100 million Nigerians are paying that stamp duty every day. 100 million Nigerians is trillions within every day that the government is generating. That is huge. And some other areas, build agriculture. We also generate serious revenue for this country. That's what I have.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Lawale Kundayo. Well, Nick, I don't know if your last words will be your concluding thoughts on the program, or if you have anything to add. If you do, go right ahead. If you don't, that would not be a problem, because I think you really did justice to it the last time. Do you?
Yes, my concluding thoughts is that I want to pass a direct message to President Tinubu. President Tinubu cannot continue doing the same thing that his predecessors were doing and expect to have different results. As he went to celebrate a $27 billion budget, that is so small. That should be a budget for the state, a single state in Nigeria. It shouldn't be a budget for the federal government. And so there are certain things that he has to do to activate Nigeria's economy, and we'll talk about them. So I will summarize for him. Number one, he needs to energize the economy. 3,000 megawatts is too small. He needs to deal with downstream petroleum and handing over the refineries so that the cost of petrol and diesel and other petroleum products will become small. Then he needs to deal with insecurity. He needs to activate agriculture. As we speak today, our farmers are using manual labor in agriculture, and that is why the young people are not being attracted to that sector. So he needs to put a lot of machines and technology on the farms. He doesn't have to do these things themselves. He can open up the economy to private sector participation, and then the funding will come in. Until he sorts out some of these things, his constant journeys to look for investors will remain in vain, just like his predecessors drew blanks from their own journeys.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Nick Agule, who is a chartered accountant and public affairs commentator. And also, big thanks to Lawale Kundayo for an educationist and also a public affairs commentator. Thank you for staying with us on the program.
Thank you.
We appreciate you for your time and your robust analysis. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll delve into other aspects of the show. Stay with us.